All right, multiplying and dividing rational expressions. How can you multiply and divide rational expressions? So if we took a regular fraction, let's say 2 over 5 times 25 over 4, and we multiplied those two fractions together, all right? You would multiply straight across. When we're multiplying and dividing, you do not have to have a common denominator. Okay? So that's going to make it easier for you. These are easier. You multiply straight across. But to keep our numbers smaller, you can cancel numbers if they will go into each other. So for example, we know that 2 will go into 2 and 4. So one has to be in the numerator and the other has to be in the denominator. So 2 will go into 2 one time, 2 will go into 4 2 times. The same with the 5 and the 25. 5 will go into 5 one time, and 5 will go into 25 5 times. Now my numbers are smaller, so I just multiply 1 times 5. You multiply straight across this way. 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 2 is 2. Okay? Multiplying fractions. Any questions on that? All right, so look on page 531. Your turn. Go ahead and write this in your notes. Instead of doing it in the paper, write it in your Cornell notes. That problem right there.
Oh man, they can't all be like that first one?
That was just an example.
That was like 4th grade.
Okay, so here's what you're going to do. Here's the problem. You're going to factor, cancel, multiply. Factor, cancel, multiply. After we factor, right in here, we're going to find our excluded values. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor numerator, denominator, if it can be factored. Some of them can, some of them can't. So let's start right here with the numerator. X squared minus 9. What will that factor into? Okay, x plus 3, x minus 3. Because that is a difference of 2 squares. Over. What about this trinomial right here? What will it factor into?
X minus 8, x plus 3.
Okay, x minus 8. X plus 3. I have to have, these two have to multiply to give me negative 24. Multiply to give me negative 24. Add to give me negative 5. Okay, let's go to the other side. Let's look at just the numerator. Numerator can't be factored, so it's just x minus 8. What about the denominator? What about this denominator?
2x.
Take out a 2x, which will leave me x minus 9. Factor, then find the excluded values. So I'm going to look at my denominators, and I'm going to set each one of these equal to 0 and get my excluded values. So if I set that equal to 0, what's one of my excluded values?
8.
X does not equal 8. What about this one? Negative 3. This one right here? 0. And then the last one, 9. Those are my excluded values. You must do that before you start canceling stuff.
Where'd you get 0?
Because I said 2x equal to 0 right here. Okay? Any questions on that? Now I can cancel. Remember how we canceled numerator, denominator a while ago? We're going to do the same thing here. So my x plus 3's will cancel because they're alike. Now, don't get mixed up here. I cannot cancel this x and that x right there because this x goes with this. It's joined together. I cannot separate those two. Kind of like they're married. Okay, we can't separate them. So I could cancel my x minus 8 and my x minus 8.
So you can cancel them even if they're in the same fraction? Like
Even if they're different.
Yeah,
Yes, if they're in different fractions, you can still cancel as long as one's in the numerator and one's in the denominator. Okay? So what do I have left? I have x minus 3 over 2x, x minus 9. Now, I could distribute that. I don't have to. I'd leave it like that. There's my answer. There's my excluded values. That's it. Now, you don't want to wait till here and do your excluded values because you would only get 0 and 9 instead of all the excluded values. Okay? Factor, cancel, multiply. Questions?
I still don't understand how you got to 0.
How I got this 0 right here?
Yes.
Okay? Because I set that part right there, 2x equals 0, divide both sides by 2. What is 0 divided by 2?
0.
Okay.
See, I set each of these equal to 0. And that's how I got all of these 4 right here. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Write this one down in your notes. Alright, let's factor. Numerator here on the left side doesn't factor. What about the denominator? Doesn't factor. And it sticks together. On the right side, what about the numerator? Take out a 3, which will leave you x minus 9. Denominator? Doesn't factor. X plus 1. I factored excluded values. X cannot equal 9 or negative 1. 9 or negative 1. Cancel? X minus 9s will cancel. Which will leave me 3x over x plus 1. Any questions?
This is gonna get hard to get home, and there's gonna be hieroglyphics in there or something.
The test is gonna have like 4 of
The
them.
test's gonna be completely different.
Whatever.
So we multiply 4 when divided by 2.
Okay, next we're going to divide. Go to your turn, page
Ooh, this is where it's going to get us.
532.
Oh, I just I'd relearn how to do long division.
Alright, let's look at a simple equation. A simple problem. You don't have to write this down. 2/3 divided by 4/7. What do I do when I divide fractions?
Keep, change, flip.
Keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep the 2/3, change to a multiplication, and flip the second one. Do not flip the first one. Change your sign, flip the second one. I could cancel on this. 2 will go into 1, 2. 2 will go into 4, 2. It'd be 7 sixths. We're going to do the same thing on our rational expressions. We're going to factor excluded values and excluded values, leave, change, flip, cancel, multiply. So the only thing I added in there was the leave, change, flip. I'm going to factor first, get my excluded values before I leave, change, flip. Okay? All right, let's factor. Numerator on the left.
X
X
plus
plus
11.
11.
Okay, it stays. Denominator on the left.
Take
It's-
that. Oh,
It stays. Okay? Numerator on the right.
take out a 2.
Take out a 2, which would leave me
X plus 3.
x plus 3. Denominator on the right.
X plus 3, X minus 1.
Okay? X plus 3, x minus 1. Okay, we did the factoring. Now it's still in division. Now we're going to do the excluded values. So I have to set this equal to 0, this equal to 0, and this equal to 0. So my excluded values, x cannot equal, when I set this equal to 0, what do I get?
0.
0. When I set this equal to 0,
Negative 3.
negative 3. And this equal to 0.
1.
1.
I only understand.
Good. All right, we got our excluded values. Now we're going to leave, change, flip. We're going to leave our first fraction just like it is. Change to multiplication. Flip the second one. Oops. Now cancel.
X plus 3.
X plus 3's will cancel. That's it. So that would leave us x plus 11, x minus 1, over, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 4 and the 2, 8x. Excluded values right there.
Are we always gonna have stuff to cancel out, or are there gonna be some?
I'm sure there will be.
Like on every problem.
Yeah.
There's going to be what?
Yeah, the homework's gonna be harder than this.
No. Yes.
So we.
For the answers, should we multiply them and then on the quadratic or like?
Let's just leave them like that. It'll be easier to grade. Okay? It'll be easier on you guys. That's question?
Do you want us to keep the x plus 11, x minus 1?
Yes, that's what you just said. Multiply it out or leave it. We're going to leave it. Okay? Later on, you'll find out that sometimes you can factor it again and all that, but that's later on.
That's,
Way
that's
later on.
10.3.
Yeah.
Just later.
All right, here we go. Number 5. Write it down. All right, factor on the left side. 20 over x squared minus 7x. Numerator, how are we going to factor that?